Mountain News, First at 4, continues.
Invest 606 has announced its finalists for this year's business contest. WYMT's Chas Jenkins spoke with some of those finalists and what they plan to do with the prize money.
A chance for local businesses to win up to $30,000 in cash prizes. With one finalist, Backroads of Appalachia, planning to use the funds to create a new job.
We're going to buy photography equipment and also stuff for a YouTube channel. So to employ someone in transition to be able to take live action photography on top of one of our mountains throughout a weekend when we have events and just random beautiful days out.
Or Appalachian Horse Project, who wants to either invest in a new tour vehicle or
a brand new small building in which we would be able to welcome the guests, sell the tickets to the tours, and also have Kentucky Proud products offered for sale.
And last but not least, Hazard Coffee Company, who simply wants to expand its business.
Maybe to a canning operation, or maybe expand just a little bit of seating that we can do. So right now I think our plan is to be able to potentially start canning some of our cold brew and iced coffee. And that way we can distribute it to more of the community. People can buy it online, they can buy it in store.
Several finalists, all waiting for the outcome. Chas Jenkins, WYMT Mountain News.
Officials with Invest 606 say a winner will be announced April 23rd, 2022. An agreement between the U.S. and the European Union means the end of tariffs on bourbon. 3 years ago, a 25% tariff on American whiskey to the EU and United Kingdom stopped that. Those taxes were in retaliation to steel and aluminum tariffs put in place by former President Donald Trump. Kentucky Distiller Association officials said they are glad the U.S. reached a deal that will remove the tariffs that were set to double on December 1st. But they are concerned that European bourbon drinkers may have changed their habits while those taxes were in place.
We're really going to have to do a lot of research to see, the long-term impacts of this decision. But for now, we're thrilled. We're ready to start shipping over, getting back to zero tariffs.
Removing retaliatory tariffs on Harley-Davidson motorcycles is also part of that new deal. I talked with Kentucky River District Health Department Public Health Director Scott Lockard for tonight's Issues and Answers. Among the topics, the Delta variant of COVID-19. Lockard says it was that variant that caused a dramatic increase in cases here in eastern Kentucky. And Lockard says right now there have been more than 18,000 COVID cases in his district, but they are seeing cases slow down.
Took us from March of 2020 to the first week of August here in 2021 to surpass 10,000 cases. And then in the past 8 weeks, we're now over 18,000 cases. So that kind of frames it for people to understand.
Very interesting statistic. Lockard says cases peaked during the first week of September in his district. Now he adds nearly 95% of people hospitalized have been unvaccinated. An eastern Kentucky church community is mourning the death of a close friend. Father Karan Veraparla served as priest at St. Julian Catholic Church in Middlesboro since 2019 and had become a beloved face among his fellow churchgoers. Veraparla died suddenly Sunday night due to unknown causes, and those who knew him well are finding that reality hard to accept.
He was a great family friend and always had a smile for other people. The whole church really is going to miss him. I don't know what to say, but it's so shocking. But he was a godly man.
Veraparla was just 39 years old.
Watching clouds stream back into the region this afternoon and evening as our next weather system, which promises at least a couple of shower chances, starts to work toward the mountains. Our time-lapse camera from I-64 at Moorhead this afternoon. You see a few of those fair weather clouds, a staple usually in the late summer, early fall, but now that we're getting into the late fall, kind of start to see those a little less. But you notice some of those high clouds, a little bit of haze working in. As we go further into the forecast, you can see those high clouds as well. Otherwise, those sunny from our camera at I-64. I-75 at Mount Vernon. Things moving smoothly on the interstate this evening. Temperatures around the region were right around 60 degrees. Not too far below average, but still for many below average. We should be about 63, and many of us still clinging to 59 degrees. Look out to the west. That's our next system, and it's headed our way, bringing the possibility for a few showers as we head later on into tonight. So that's something to keep an eye on as we head later on through the overnight hours into the low to mid 40s for overnight lows tonight, with those showers, light though they may be, on the increase coming up later tonight. Now, we've got some cooler weather, much cooler weather on the way for later on in the week, and I'll have the details on that coming up in just a little bit. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Drivers in parts of Kentucky are dealing with a lot of close encounters with deer. In fact, police in Laurel County were called numerous times Saturday night for a half-dozen collisions. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more.
The drivers from one end of Laurel County to the other had the same problem that they had to call help for Saturday night. Their car had just collided with a deer. Rain was falling Saturday night and visibility was down anyway because of that, when the same sheriff's deputy was getting call after call of deer collisions from one end of the county to the other on Kentucky 490 near East Bernstadt to American Greeting Card Road in Corbin. It's because of the time of the year. Officials say in October through December, the breeding season is triggered in the white-tailed deer. To have that many in one day, just within a few hours though, was unusual.
Because a lot of times we'll have an area where deer are known to cross. It was all over the county. It was on the interstate, it was on the back roads, it was everywhere, to the point that one of the deputies called me at home and said, hey, we're having an unusual number of collisions. Can we put something out?
Owners of body shops have to do a lot more work this time of the year because of the car versus deer collisions. We spoke with the owner of one body shop here in Laurel County. He says he sees very minor damage to very severe damage to some damage that's very unique and sometimes difficult to fix. More about that coming up at 5:30. But for now in Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Police say the best way to avoid having a collision is to just slow down so that your reaction time is increased. We could see COVID-19 shots in the arms of younger children as soon as later this week. The FDA gave the authorization for ages 5 to 11 last week, and the CDC could give the final green light as soon as tomorrow. While some parents are preparing to vaccinate their children, others are hesitant. One survey shows less than 1 in 3 parents will have their children get the COVID vaccine right away. Another third will wait and see. Dr. Corey Cross is an American Academy of Pediatrics spokesperson.
I hear your concerns, and I love that you worry about your child. And I think that talking to your pediatrician will help you to work through those concerns.
While children are less likely to get severe COVID, thousands of children have been hospitalized. Pfizer's lower dose vaccine was found to be 91% effective. No serious side effects have been detected in about 3,100 children 5 through 11. Some grim COVID news today. The number of people who have died from COVID-19 worldwide has now surpassed 5 million. The global tally of deaths from Johns Hopkins University now at 5,425,000. The highest toll in the world is right here in the United States, more than 766,000, followed by Brazil and India. A man dressed as the Joker went on a stabbing attack on a Japanese train on Halloween, leaving more than a dozen people injured and one in critical condition. Terrified commuters escaped any way they could, even squeezing through windows, as a man dressed as the Joker went on the rampage. Witnesses say he stabbed an elderly man sitting right next to him. Minutes later, the attacker started a fire. Police and firefighters quickly locked down the area and arrested the suspect on the spot. Authorities say the attacker told them he admired the infamous comic book villain. Jury selection is underway in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. He's charged with shooting and killing 2 men during protests in Kenosha last year after the police shooting of Jacob Blake. Rittenhouse was only 17 years old at the time. He traveled from his home in Illinois to Wisconsin and at some point acquired a gun. His lawyers say he was out with an AR-15 style rifle to protect businesses after arson and looting, and the shooting was in self-defense. A third person was also hurt in this. In court Monday morning, there were some technical issues at one point. The judge in the case played Jeopardy with prospective jurors while they all waited. Coming up on First at 4, how a California company is turning baked goods into vodka.
And sweater weather is finally back in the mountains, and it's here to stay. I'll have the details of just how many layers you might have to wear coming